Hey there, Skullheads. I'm Snags.
And I'm old Silky.
Make sure you go to snagsandsilky.com and buy all the merch. Just buy everything on there. You got all kinds of hoodies and t-shirts and mugs and everything else. Just buy it all.
Stickers.
Yeah. Back up a truck and load up.
Yeah.
All right, Silky, why don't you hip
right.
everybody to what this episode's about?
So tonight we've got a band out of Orlando called Grin, Cynic. And we're fortunate enough to have Mike Lee, guitarist and vocals, and Sean Young, other guitarist in the band, with us. And we're promised that we'll have Rafi Lamardo, the drummer. I don't know if Greg Body is coming. Is he going to be here?
He may make an appearance.
Might show up.
Yeah.
And James Wamsley, the vocalist, will not be here tonight, but we certainly want to mention him with the lineup of the band. But I caught Grin Cynic a few weeks ago in February at a place in Fort Myers called The Ranch, and was just blown away by right out of the chute. They come out. Twin guitar attack, bass player slamming away. The drummer was phenomenal, and everybody's just beards and cool cowboy hats and shit. No spandex and pretty boy type shit. This was just real good groove metal, good rock and roll, and they really that it was a Tuesday night, hardly. Not a huge crowd, but everybody, most of the people came up to the stage, and it was. I was really impressed by, it wasn't a big crowd, but they played like they were playing to a much larger audience, which you just have to sell it that way. You can't let the crowd beat you. So, Mike, and Sean, if you want to weigh in, I wanted to start. You guys you were in the band in the early the first kind of lineup of Grin Cynic, right?
Yeah, so I started the band back in the day in Orlando. We're actually based out of Palm Beach, Florida, right now. So yeah, I started the band, back in the day in Orlando. Basically, the way it happened was I got in touch with a friend of mine who owned or opened up a independent label, wanted to sign a couple of bands and do that whole thing. So I gave him a demo tape. Yes, I said cassette tape.
Yeah,
how it should be back in the old days.
So original songs on it, and they liked it. And they said, all right, well, we want to come see you play. I said, well, I have a band. That's just me. He's like, well, go put a band together and, and let's do this. I'm like, all right, cool.
So you were Dave Grohl, basically. You're doing the Dave Grohl thing.
Yeah,
basically. Play everything and
Yeah. On a 4-track.
Yeah. I had one of those back in the day.
Yeah. That was fun. So, so I put an ad in, I think it was like Rag Magazine or Jam or one of those freaking things, and got a for like a drummer and singer. Went through the whole audition process, found some cool guys, and we all kind of gelled together and put together some songs. And then they signed us, and we went in the studio and recorded a 9-song album in like a week.
Wow. Yeah, now, none of that is on the Resurrection EP, right?
No, this is really old stuff.
Way back.
But yeah, so on the Resurrection CD, we resurrected a couple of the songs. Like Joke is an old song. It has a different melody now, and a couple of other different parts to it. So James and I kind of reworked a lot of the songs for that.
And yeah, I thought Joke, Stealing Time, and Fly High really stand out on that debut.
And those songs and a lot of those riffs and shit came from from back in the day. And,
That's cool.
Yeah, and James and I kind of just modernized it and made it our own.
So what happened after you released that original album back in the 90s? Did they get you guys out on the road?
Yeah, so we released that album. It went into a lot of stores. It did really well. And this is going to bring you back to in Blockbuster Music. Remember that?
Oh,
wow. I got fired from Blockbuster back in the day.
Yeah, Blockbuster was fun. Yeah, so we toured. We did some big shows. We did the Howard Stern show. We were on there. That was a really interesting time.
Tell us about that, the Howard Stern.
So there was a couple of bands back in that day. A lot of bands wanted to get on Howard's show because of course of his reach, right?
sure.
And they would do some stupid shit to get on the show, and then Howard would, eventually play their song or whatever and give them press. So we were emailing him and faxing him. Right? We were faxing.
Wow. Yeah.
Yeah, it was an email came out, and but we were faxing, and they responded. Gary responded to us, said, "Don't. We already had a couple bands do that, and we're not interested. Don't even waste your time." And so I told the guys in the band, I'm like, "Look," and this is when we were in Orlando. I said, "Let's just go to New York and let's just walk right into the show and see what happens."
Oh my God.
I said, if nothing happens and they kick us out, I'm from New York, so we can stay at my parents' house.
Oh, that's great.
We can walk around Manhattan, and hang out, whatever. So we all bought plane tickets. We went up there, and with our manager, and couldn't get past the security guard on the bottom floor. Oh, here's Rafi.
Yes.
Rafi, pull up a stool. So we're like, all right, how the hell are we going to get upstairs? To at least just knock on the door and say, hey, we're Grin Cynic from Orlando. We're here. We told you we're coming. So what had to happen was our band manager was distracting the security guard. We all ran into the elevator.
And awesome.
And we went up. And we're like, yeah, we're fucking in, man. This is great. And we get up there and the elevator opens and boom, another fucking door right there. And we're like, oh, shit, what are we going to do? So we're banging on the door, and who comes to the door? It's Gary,
No shit.
Yeah. So we said, hey, we're Grin Cynic from Orlando. We told you we were going to show up. And he goes, we told you not to come here. And we said, well, we're here. And we came all the way from Florida. We drove up here, which we really didn't. We flew.
Right.
And, it took us 2 days. And we gave them this whole fucking story, right? And they're like, all right, come on in. So
that's incredible.
So they put us in the green room. In the other part of the green room was fucking AC/DC and Donna D'Errico from Baywatch.
AC/DC?
AC/DC was on the show that day, and so was Donna D'Errico.
So who from AC/DC was in the green room?
Angus Young, his brother, and Brian Johnson.
Wow.
That's fucking cool as shit.
Yeah, it was really cool. But wait, it gets better. So we're all in the green room. Gary comes out with Stuttering John. And, says, all right, you guys are here. Obviously, we can't just have you come on the show and play your music and this, that. And the other thing, you got to do something that Howard's going to really like. We need a bit. So take 15, 20 minutes, think of something, and let us know. We're like, oh, shit. All right. So luckily at the time, the singer of the band, he's pretty creative. And he's like, all right, what if we do this? What if we tell Howard to take his underwear off, put it in his toilet bowl, wring it out into a cup, and our band manager will drink it on the air?
Oh my God.
Throw the band manager under the bus.
Exactly. Like, why the fuck should we do it? Let him do it. So like, all right, we'll see if that works. So Gary came back in. We told him that. He said, all right. He goes, that sounds interesting. Let me go talk to Howard, and we'll see if that works. He comes back. He goes, I got good news and bad news. And I go, all right, what's up? He goes, well, the good news is Howard really likes that. I'm like, all right, that's cool. What's the bad news? The bad news is today is Thursday or Friday or whatever it is, and we can't get you on the show till Monday. I'm like, all right, well, that's cool. That's fine with us. And it also gives Howard a opportunity to fart and shit in his underwear at home all weekend.
Jesus Christ.
And bring in this dirty pair of underwear and soak it in the toilet bowl and bring it out into a cup. I'm like, all right, cool. So,
God damn.
Long story short, which I know is probably too late right now, but
no, this is an entertaining story, man.
Yeah, so we go back in Monday. Well, yeah, so they told us to be there at like 7:30 in the morning on Monday. And I'm like, this is really cool. And they said, all right, your slot's at 8:30 Monday morning. Like, that's fucking prime time drive, right?
Yeah.
This is, on K-Rock. Was it K-Rock? Yeah, K-Rock. And all of his other affiliates around the country. So, like, this is some great exposure. So we go back in Monday morning. They prep us, and Howard takes his. They already had the underwear soaking in a toilet bowl, and it's all on. I think I have it on YouTube somewhere. He brings it out into a cup, and my band manager drinks it. And
that's dedication.
So who else? So on Monday morning, Donald Trump was on the show with us.
Oh my God.
Yeah,
it was huge.
It was huge. So that was pretty interesting. He wasn't the most friendly type of guy.
I'm sure.
So then, we did the whole bit, and Howard's like, "All right, as promised, I'm gonna play your single," and he played our single. And after he played the single, Harvey Leeds from Epic Records called into the show and says, "I like that song. I need to see this band. I need to hear this band. Who is this band? Where
oh my God."
And at the time, Harvey was VP of A&R or something like that with that band.
Right.
And Howard's like, "Well, they're in the studio now. Why don't you come down? And see them?" And Harvey's like, "Well, when they play New York, let me know." And this and the other thing. Well, they're playing Florida. Well, why don't we set up a show in New York? So they set us up with a show at CBGB's in Manhattan.
That's fantastic.
It was really cool. They invited all these people out there, all these A&R guys, and then they had remember when Howard was on the E channel?
Yeah.
Yeah, so they had a film crew fly to Florida to Orlando to kind of film us rehearsing for the CBGB show, and like whole behind the scenes stuff, preparing for this big show, and they did this whole documentary thing on us. It was really cool.
Wow.
And shit, I was in my early 20s when this was all happening, so it was like, oh my God, this is great.
Can you still get this first album?
I found it somewhere. It's not online. I found it somewhere, but I could always send you a copy of it too.
Yeah, I love this kind of shit. I'm a sucker for the the hard to find CD or whatever.
Yeah, I could definitely get it to you. So yeah, we did we did that whole prep thing. We flew back up to New York. They had all I had to do was we had to bring guitars and drumsticks. They had everything all set up for us at the club. The club was packed. The E channel film crew was there.
Wow.
We had a bunch of A&R reps there, entertainment lawyers, and fans and whatever. And Howard promoted it on his show, so it was a really good time. So what came out of that was a lot of exposure. We got a distribution deal. We did some more shows, and then and our band manager actually didn't follow up on a lot of things, so a lot of things got screwed up. And he wasn't really like a band manager. It was like one of your buddies, right?
Sure. Yeah.
All right, I'm going to be your band manager. All right, cool, man. You're the man. Yeah, business. Yeah.
I do have to ask, after he chugged down that cup of shit water, I mean, did he like was he just totally cool with that, or did he run to the bathroom and vomit? I mean,
No, he threw like a whole thing of Tic Tacs in his mouth. I remember that. It was
yeah,
pretty
that'll
and
fix
it
it.
was real too. Like they showed and we saw the.
Oh, I have no doubt Howard would totally
That is
shit water.
Yeah,
that's epic. Now, did you guys get new instruments or wardrobe out of this? Did they fit you guys?
No, we got a lot of press out of it. It was fun. We got a lot of cool shows, a lot of opening gigs for some nationals. It was fun. We had a really good time. But at the end of the day, a year or two later, when things weren't followed up on the way they should have been followed up on, and then we started to kind of musically go in different directions.
Right.
That's when I moved to South Florida, and I moved to South Florida, and then my singer moved down here too, and we tried to do a couple of other things, but that kind of just faded away. But
that's got to be tough to get that close.
Yeah.
And it's so hard. The whole industry is very unforgiving. So you take chances, and I love that you stormed the Stern show.
Yeah, that was fun.
I mean, there's a lesson there. You gotta make shit up and see what can come of it for sure.
Yeah. Persistence.
Yeah.
So basically, there's a big buzz around you guys for a while, and then record company doesn't follow through with a deal, and that buzz kind of dies down, and then people start going in different directions musically. So then what happens? What did you do after that?
I was in a bunch of different bands and did some recording and what have you. Then fast forward, 4 years ago, the original singer of the band, who was a really good friend of mine, he had a stroke.
Oh shit.
Yeah, so he was like permanently disabled, and like it was a bad stroke. Wheelchair, feeding tube, couldn't swallow, and his time was very limited. So I was like, holy shit, man. So he was back home in Daytona Beach, and so I would go up there and visit him like once a month, maybe once every 2 months. And he said to me, I was going in the studio anyway to start recordings and my own stuff. And he's like, you know what? He goes, you should bring back some of that Grin Cynic stuff that we did back in the day and rework some of it and modernize it and, keep that thing going. And I'm like, you really want me to do that? And he's like, yeah. He goes, keep that name alive, keep those songs alive, and, work with it. So I'm like, all right. So I kind of switched gears and met up with James, and James actually wanted me to play guitar in his band. He was with a band called Daybreak Embrace, and they were a really big band on the scene here in South Florida, and they toured and played in Europe and all that other stuff. And I told him, I said, look, here's really what I want to do. He had a home studio. Him and I just clicked immediately from a writing perspective. And, I told him the whole story, and he was definitely into it. And we just kind of broke down a bunch of our old songs and rewrote them. And that's how that Resurrection album came about. And then I'm like, you know what? This needs to be in a band.
So he is singing on the Resurrection EP?
No, it's actually me singing on Resurrection.
Oh, okay.
And so I did.
I thought the vocals were different.
Yeah. And, I'm a guitar player first, then a singer. Don't get me wrong. I like singing, but I don't want to be the front man. I'm more of a guitar player. So, so what I did was I was like, all right, I want to put a band together. And I don't know how I met Sean.
Band mix.
Oh, band mix. Yeah. So I put an ad out there, and so tell you what I want to talk over.
All right. So
pick it up from there.
So Sean Young, not to be confused with the actress.
Yeah.
This is a
Not
different.
to be confused with the less famous actress. This is the more
Yeah.
famous Sean Young. So hip us to what the story from when he contacted you.
All right, so I was in I actually come from like a death metal, thrash, all that heavy math metal stuff background.
Mm-hmm.
And I was in a band, and it was kind of coming to an end for me with them. And I was like, you know what, I want to do something else, So I kind of joined Band Mix, and I was looking around. I did recordings at my house and kind of looking to get up with some people. And so Mike sent me a link, I think, to Resurrection with the song Joke, and I heard it, and I was just like, this is it. Wow. So it kind of told me I was going to just part with the other band and try this. So we met up, bought me lunch, and then he took me back to the warehouse, showed me some riffs, and I just, from then there on, we just been together, and I learned everything. And I think, even though I love that more extreme music, I fell in love with the way he writes, the sound, and his whole idea. So for the past 4 years, I just dedicated myself to that.
That's great. What are some of your influences?
We both love thrash metal, so you probably.
When I was younger, it's definitely Kiss. After watching Kiss Meets the Phantom of the Park.
So every podcast we've done so far, no matter what the subject, Kiss has been mentioned.
Yeah,
so,
I was like, it was 1979.
You mentioned Kiss. You're the Kiss mention on this episode. That's great.
Yeah. Well, I mean, they influenced a lot of people. So, Motley Crue, of course, their first 2 albums.
Yeah, that's the cutoff. That's the cutoff. Yeah.
Yeah. And then I got, when I was 16, Metallica, Slayer, Testament.
Mm-hmm.
But my ultimate, I feel, musical guru is Chuck Schuldiner from Death.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, wow.
Just absolutely amazing. Bands like Cynic. Down here in the day, we had a lot of those kind of bands. You had Cannibal down here, Malevolent Creation. Had Boogalard back in the day. A lot of good thrash metal, death metal stuff. So that was my passion. So that's pretty much it.
Do you feel like you bring some of that energy to his more melodic sensibility, counterbalance a little bit?
Yeah.
Live, there's moments where they just kind of jam. They really bring just a good heavy groove to some of the songs, and that solidified me. I was really into it, so it was.
That's what I really liked about also working with Mike. It's like he had these good rock grooves, but I felt that I could put a little bit of my edge into it, and it just worked out really nicely. It's a really delicate balance of classic rock, hard rock that meets a little bit of in-your-face metal, and I think it's a nice combination.
Yeah, I look forward to this new album in May. Mid-May, I'd say. The new single is called Let Me Go, and it comes galloping in. The vocals really have a good mix of the dramatic and the rage, and a nod to like Alice in Chains with the backing vocals, and I say that in a good way. And then Rafi Lamardo's drumming is really good. When I saw you guys this past February, I think it was February 27th with Glenn Hughes. Yep. And there's a few bands I've seen where the drummer just stands out, where he might as well be out in front. And that's what I got from you guys. I was really floored by his energy. And I want to, since he is back sitting in front of us, Rafi, who are your influences? Who do you kind of go to?
Dale Crover from the Melvins.
Oh, the Melvins.
Yes.
Yeah,
Dale Crover.
John Tempesta, Dave Lombardo.
Another one. Yes.
Yeah, Slayer. Nice. That's cool. I really,
Myself were in like 2 or 3 bands before Grin Cynic, and it was all pretty extreme metal. And when the other drummer kind of exited, I called him up, and he came in and pretty much nailed all the parts. Came in and really brought us to that next level.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Stylistically, you've got some really cool cats collaborating with you here. I remember I was such a big Melvins freak in the 90s. Silky and I drive to New Orleans to see Kiss at the Superdome on the reunion tour. Alice in Chains was supposed to open, and of course, heroin addiction and all that. They canceled, but nobody knew it because it was at the last minute. I see this drum set getting set up on the stage, and I look at Silky and I go, "That's Dale Crover's drum set." That's how big of a Melvins fan I was. And they came out, and I was actually happier that they were opening.
yeah.
Well, now I wish I saw Alice in Chains, but yeah, there's some good influences here.
That's awesome. So that Let Me Go single, that's going to be the lead off single in May.
Yeah, and that actually drops April 11th. The single is going to be released. And then the full-length album is May 17th.
Okay. So April 11th, I believe, if I'm not wrong, I believe you guys are playing that night at the ranch.
That's great.
Thanks for reminding us.
Yeah, we're playing with Zoso.
Zoso, yeah. Now you guys have played with Zoso a lot back just in 2021, all through.
We were supposed to play with them twice in 21, but those shows were rescheduled for this one.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah. So I'm looking forward to it because I'm a pretty big Led Zeppelin fan.
Yeah, I just noticed like your website is not up to date just as far as.
Yeah, no, it's being worked on, that along with a lot of our social media right now, redoing everything for the release right now.
Yeah. Okay. Well, good. That's good. I'm just like, oh, you got to get this ready. That makes sense. So.
Yep.
Well, so Silky, you just mentioned they played with Glenn Hughes, is a fucking legend. And he, so people who don't know, he's been touring the country playing the Burn album, which is a phenomenal Deep Purple album. First one with him and David Coverdale singing. Glenn Hughes was on bass and singing the high parts. David Coverdale would kind of sing the low parts. Phenomenal album. What was it like opening for him? Did you get to interact with him at all? Was he cool? Was he a dick? What was the experience?
So his whole band was really cool. We didn't interact with him that much. It was just, hey, how's it going? Have a good show type of things.
Yeah.
We were hanging out with the guys from Enough's Enough. Those guys were pretty cool.
Yeah, I was floored by how they were very Beatlesque, and I don't remember.
Yeah, they opened up a Magical Mystery Tour.
Yeah, I
cool.
don't remember listening to them back in the day, and I worked at Tower Records, so I'm sure I heard them, but I
was like
not
80s,
familiar with any of that.
80s glam metal, right?
Yeah, they were kind of the end of that whole erogenous
air
metal.
But they really brought that Beatles harmonizing thing live that night. I was like, wow, but I still have not heard any of their.
Cheap Trick has a killer live album. It's just them covering the entire Sgt. Pepper album. It's actually really good.
Yeah, I know that one.
Yeah,
I don't. I'd like to get that.
Yeah, it's on Spotify. Check it out.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
So who are your songwriting influences?
Mine? Well, definitely the Beatles, Led Zeppelin. I would say a little bit of Alice in Chains and Metallica.
You can definitely hear the Alice in Chains for sure. Yeah.
But it's. I go through phases of writing, and this album was very interesting to write due to a lot of personal things that have been going on in my life, which are basically the same thing that James is going through. So we're going through all these personal things together, and we're able to kind of relate to one another and write the album. And it was just weird how it all came together.
That's cool though, that in the midst of personal tragedy or personal drama, you guys are able to kick some lyrics back and forth and shape something.
Oh yeah. And even the album cover and the way everything is.
Without digging too deep into the personal stuff, what are some of the themes that you're touching on in the album with the cover?
Obviously it's about relationships, and I would say strength and
rising above.
Yeah, exactly. That's Walk the Fire and Let Me Go, or just those two songs alone are about that.
So Walk the Fire will be on this new record.
Yep.
Oh, that's great.
Yep.
That song, Snags, really heavy riffage, groove metal. This is like metal crack. It's so catchy.
I listened to the.
Oh, you did listen to it.
Yeah.
I can't get enough of that. So I can't get it loud enough, for one. I can't turn it up loud enough. And I actually just went out and set myself on fire with that bastard.
Nice.
Just out in the backyard. I just, it's that good.
I got a
video.
Yeah. That's why I have no hair. I do it all the time in the back.
Yeah, we're all boycotting hair these days. Who needs hair? I've got our listeners won't be able to see it, but we can all see each other on video. I've got a Charles Bukowski poster on the wall behind me, and you reminded me of a Charles Bukowski quote: "What matters most is how well you walk through the fire."
Yeah,
sounds like what you guys are talking about.
Yeah, we're trying to push a message because every day you hear a lot of pop stuff, a lot of music now. It just plays to the fact that everybody wants to be numb and distracted and not work on personal growth. So I think that really says a lot too, because we don't want to come across, oh yeah, well, glad you have a nice chain and a big car, but so we want people to really think about life and, hey, look, man, we all go through shit, and you're gonna either lay down and die, or you're gonna get purified through the fire.
Yeah, well, it's timeless, because you can go back to like Chuck Berry singing about sitting in school and the guy behind him won't leave him alone, and the teacher looks so mean, and those are timeless themes.
Yeah,
and you're never going to get tired of hearing that shit.
Right? Well, that's what we're trying to do, is we're trying to penetrate it seems now, an apathetic world that just wants to be led off the cliff. That's just my personal opinion, but
shared by us as well.
Give good hard music and add that good message with it and see what happens.
Yeah, I think too many
crucified for it, but whatever.
Well, I think too many people want to watch the Super Bowl and see some schmaltzy bullshit and go, wow, this is nice. And I think rock and roll is still alive, and it should be a little dangerous, should be a little edgy. You should maybe feel a little uncomfortable. Where's this going to go? Is this going to, nobody needs a nice sweater. I want to fucking rock.
Some of the most interesting music happens when mainstream culture is crap. And we are definitely in one of those eras right now where mainstream culture is just garbage. And so all the cool shit is going to be happening underground. And a lot of, if you look at like the 1980s with the Replacements, Husker Du, Sonic Youth, you had all these cool bands, and even the thrash scene in the Bay Area. All that stuff was very interesting, and it was a reaction to the garbage of Cyndi Lauper and Duran Duran and all that crap.
Yes, the society, we just, like I said, everybody's so interested about, I don't even know what.
Oh, it's
Themselves, it's a bunch
the
of
perfect,
narcissists posting selfies on social media.
like the Kansas City Chiefs and what's her
I don't
face?
even watch baseball.
Yeah, see, exactly. That's what
I
I'm
don't even
saying.
have a football bat.
It's like, yeah, you just personal. People trying to communicate now, it's just so top level, like, oh, how's the weather? Oh, it's like we're really kind of responsible for hopefully pushing an agenda where people could be a little bit more conscientious and, just understand we all go through shit. And instead of letting it all burn down, we got to kind of ask those hard questions and, do what we got to do to make it a better place for everybody. So why not with rock? That's how I always felt, amongst the devil worship stuff and all the metal, Slayer, that stuff was, showed. But like, you'll have a lot of bands out there that, tackle a lot of political issues, a lot of,
Hey, man,
your own existence and self and how you can play a part in making everybody, hopefully a little bit.
some of the best lyrics. I mean, Slayer has some amazing lyrics. Lemmy wrote some of the most profound lyrics in rock and roll.
Oh yeah,
you can find it right in smack in the middle of that genre. I think.
Well, I can remember being like 12 and Mob Rules comes out and Dio singing "Close the City," tell the people something's coming to call. Death and darkness rushing for. You're like, it like reached out of the speakers and ripped our heads off. We were like, listen to these lyrics. It was saying something. And
it kicked the shit out of Stray Cat Strut. That's for sure.
That's what I'm saying. You'd like turn MTV on and it was, Take on Me. You're like, get the fuck out of here.
Well, having said that, I think we're gonna do a cover of Wet Ass Pussy or whatever that song's called. Yeah. That's the mainstream now, and it's like, okay,
Yeah, it's leaves a lot to be desired. And I like Snags and I have a side band that we have not done a lot with, and we had an original.
Because we don't have any musical talent.
Yeah, well, there's that, but
I don't think we do either. We're just
we had an original song called "Mad Shitter."
Oh yeah, this is based on a true story of when Silky shit in some dude's mailbox.
Yeah, it was a revenge.
Yeah, right.
It was a revenge story, but when I was writing those lyrics, I inadvertently based them on "Rock Bottom" by UFO, and then we kind of.
Oh, I see that. I see that now. You didn't mention that at the time, but
we kind of the cadence, and then I think the riffage was on something else. But as you guys write stuff, do you play something back and go, "Oh Christ"?
Yeah. How does the writing process go down? As far as the collaboration between you guys?
So, typically I'll just throw out some riffs and James and I'll kind of arrange it properly. And then, I'll have kind of what I'm looking for as far as, a beat in mind.
A blueprint.
Yeah, kind of like that. And we're all kind of already all on the same page. So Rafi already knows, all right, this is what's going to go well with it. Mm-hmm. And he'll put that down. And then what I love, what Sean does is he's just give me the recording. Just give me the recording. Just give me the recording. Just record it. And he'll go home and he'll put it into his studio. And then he'll just write everything on top of it, which is awesome because our styles are very much different guitar-wise.
Yeah.
And I like, because I love metal and I love, I do love metal. You think I don't love metal? I do love metal. I'm more blues, rock and roll, classic rock, hard rock oriented. Mm-hmm. But I do love metal, and I always wanted to, have that perfect blend of the two guitars going with each other. So, he puts this really deep riffage to it. Plus, he plays 10-string or 12-string, 15,
7
7-string guitar, and it's tuned all the way down. So he's getting that
It's really the same as you. I just got a higher string.
Oh yeah. So, but he gets in there and he puts all those lows in there where they're meant to be.
Like those visceral lows.
Yeah,
that just
puts
punch
that,
you right in the mouth.
and it mixes very well. So once we kind of get that all done, we'll bring it back to our studio, and James and I'll sometimes have a melody in mind, and we'll just like scat over the music, and then once we figure out a melody, we start writing lyrics to it. And
so do you guys tend to get the music down first and then kind of scat?
Sounds like yeah.
We get the music down first, and then James will and I will both scat over it, and then we'll kind of use both of them or pick one out that we like the best. It's funny because when James does his thing, like I write lyrics around what he is scatting. It's odd. And
well, I mean, Sabbath did that. Ozzy would just like channel lyrics while they jammed, and then Geezer would come in and like just pull gold out of this bullshit that Ozzy would, shoot out.
Yeah, it was songs come together pretty easily here. We don't overproduce them. They're very, I wouldn't say simple, but we're going for a vibe that's like what you mentioned earlier, that's timeless, right? Not something that is here today, gone tomorrow. Real songs with real melodies, memorable, but that also kicks you in the nuts a little bit.
Sure. Well, is there pressure to do like a cohesive grouping of songs? Like maybe you got 10 and then there's one you really like, but it just doesn't fit. Have you run into that?
Have we? Yeah, we have 2 songs that we recorded that we're not going to have on the album, right? Are we?
Yeah. Well, there was a couple of songs that were.
And they're really good songs,
but they just don't fit.
You got to have B-sides, man. You got to have say
like Follow Me,
and the other one.
Oh yeah, I know which one you're talking about. Yeah, so there's opportunity for those songs.
Yeah, maybe at a later date.
Later date.
Bonus tracks.
Bonus tracks.
B-sides.
Yeah. So and I'm a writing machine. I have probably 2 more albums worth of material.
That's great.
But and where we're at right now, we're in our studio. We have a recording studio in here, and inside my Mac with Logic Pro, there's just a ton of stuff in there, riffs and everything else. Because if I don't record them and get them in there, I'll forget them.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. I'm a pothead at heart, so
No, you're not.
So
it's a little bit of stoner going on here too.
Yeah, so it has to be and even in my cell phone, if I hear something or if I'm doing something in my house, I open up my voice recorder and do that. But right now, we're prepping for these shows. We're having a big album release show here in Palm Beach on May 18th at the Banyan Live. So hit the Facebook page. You'll see the event on there and RSVP for that. It's going to be big. We're going to have some special guests, and it's a free show. And we're going to have our new CDs there and a lot of merch for everyone to pick up. And it's a really awesome venue to play at. It's kind of like the Ranch, actually.
We actually went up for Lita Ford there a couple months ago.
Yeah, we played with Lita Ford there a couple months ago, and it was a great show.
Silky, was that the show you were at?
No. At the Ranch, Lita Ford played, and her sound was just awful.
Really?
I don't know.
Yeah, I heard about that.
Yeah, I don't know if we kind of had that same experience. I don't know if it was just the sound guys.
Yeah, I don't know what happened because the band Voodoo what were they called? I forgot their name. But they played second, and their sound was really good. And then she came on, and the sound was like really, really bad.
Yeah, she got her own sound guy too, which was
so I don't know what happened with that, because I was concerned, like, holy shit, this is not going to be, this is not going to be good.
That's unfair for all of us. And
yeah.
you just sometimes, you're just left to, okay, well, this guy knows what he's doing, or if the guy knows the board, or gal.
Yeah. So at the ranch, we've played there a ton of times.
Right.
And, we've taken care of them, they've taken care of us. I think the sound guy's name is Paul.
Right.
Yeah, he loves working with us, and that's why we get a lot of gigs there. And it's funny because we go there and our sound is already programmed into the board. They just recall Grin, Cynic on the sound.
That's great.
Yeah, and you got to tweak it up a little, here and there, but for they have all of our inputs. They have, everything that we need. They know what we like as far as, reverbs and delays and, all that other stuff. So we're kind of lucky when we play the ranch. We get good sound.
Yeah, and that was the thing. You guys were real crisp, real sharp, and just the heaviness really came out. And I was standing kind of right in front of James, but I could hear Sean, and the drummer was like right behind James, and you guys all it was great. It
was a fun show.
But I was concerned because Lita had been the last show I'd seen there, and I was like, "Oh man, if the show's bad this time, I'm gonna be I'm done with this place."
How was Glenn's sound copacetic?
Yeah,
Glenn sounded great.
His vocals, he just shreds, and he's like 72 or something, and he was hitting notes that I'm like, how in the hell?
I was afraid he's gonna break some windows or something.
Yeah, it was
That's impressive too. So he wasn't doing the Paul Stanley thing where he's just lip syncing to a recorded. No. That's pretty impressive.
Yeah, that was. So, have you guys met any like of your heroes? Are you just mainly?
Tell us some stories about the either in this band
stories.
This band or previous bands, just interesting stories from your music careers, interesting people you met, or other crazy things that happened.
Sean's
any of the three of you.
Back in the day, I toured Europe, and I got to open up for a lot of people that I used to listen to as a kid. Like my first tour was with a band I was in, Wicked Witch, and we went on tour with Sodom, Destruction, and Creator.
Creator's an amazing band.
Oh, they're
just fucking phenomenal.
Creator from Germany, right?
Yeah. It was like a whole, Destruction is German, Sodom's German. So I went on a 3-month tour, and I was just kind of like, holy shit, man, from my bedroom to this.
That's great.
Yeah, it was pretty cool. And then, tour with like bands like Deicide and Dying Fetus, open up a couple gigs with Cannibal. Then I got to do merch for my loved one. And I got to, eat dinner with Kerry King. We had steak dinner, all of us hanging out with a cool guy. But absolutely, when I got to meet Gene Hoglan in Chicago, which is, that he played for Dark Angel, Death, and other bands, and he's probably one of my favorite drummers besides Rafi. That was a really big. I was like, holy shit, man! This guy's a legend, man.
So that was a good catch.
Yeah, I got a picture with him. He's real cool about it, and I still have it. I'm like a fanboy.
Yeah.
Because I guess for most of us, when I was young, when I started listening to metal or music in general, it just kind of really put everything in perspective. It was my own little thing that I can get into and create my own little world. And I guess I still live in a creative little world. But
Chuck from Death died.
Yeah.
18 or 19?
No, I think he was older than that.
No, 2018?
No, I think it was, I don't even remember. What year is this? Oh, he died probably early 2000s. And amazing when we went over to Europe and all these bands and they found out we were from Florida. oh, you like Chuck Schuldiner, you know, that's what they mentioned would be the band Death.
Yeah.
And it's just funny, you hear that name and you think one thing, but when you get into his lyrics and how he composes his music to the lyrics, and it's just, I don't know, man, it's just great stuff. And to be able to go across the pond and relate to people that you never met that are from different cultures, but yet it's still like it's still a camaraderie and a family. Like it was pretty cool.
Oh, that's the beauty of the metal genre.
Language.
Yeah, it really is. I think all the metalheads really stick together.
Absolutely.
I continue to see it.
When I'm going to any kind of store, I see a guy with a metalhead shirt. It's kind of like, you look into each other's eyes and the wind blows. dude, yeah, man, holy shit.
I was in Kroger wearing an Iron Maiden Killers shirt, and this guy comes up and he goes, "Hey, I have that shirt too, except for mine's actually from 1982." I was like, "Fuck you."
Yeah, well, it can still be elitist as well.
Yeah,
I totally thought it was funny. It was not a problem.
Oh yeah, it is. But you can be anywhere, and then you'll see like a fellow metalhead, and it's like as if you guys known each other forever, you know.
Yeah, it's usually you both nod and go, "Nice shirt, dude."
Yeah, or you just walk by Slayer.
Yeah.
That seems to be the chant.
So, do you guys see getting into like the whole vinyl thing with each of these release? This new. I assume you're kind of thinking of this new record as your debut again. Or...
Yeah. This is definitely the re-debut of the band.
Kind of a back to zero, or
exactly.
Are you gonna do any vinyl, or you get those?
So. Yeah, I think we're gonna press some vinyl.
That's fun. That's cool.
We're gonna do 8 tracks too.
Yeah.
There's nothing like the cool hiss of an 8-track.
You guys need to do the connecting posters. Each of you connect.
Yeah.
To
Well, first they got to release 4 separate solo albums.
Right.
Each one has a poster. Yeah. So do you guys see yourself getting on the road and touring this album, or what are the plans for promoting?
Yeah. So once we have it released, obviously we got to go out and support it, right? So we're looking into several different options, and so is the label handles all that stuff. So we're just waiting for the right opportunity to tour with the right bands.
Yeah. Now you're hip to all the pitfalls, having been around this for the last 20, 30 years.
Yeah.
Do you feel like you're in a safe place, or is it risky?
No, I think we're in a safe place because we are older. We are experienced. We know what works and what doesn't work because we've been there and done that. We've all, every single one of us in the band has, toured all over in a broken down, non-air conditioned van with a U-Haul on the back of it.
Right.
It smells like farts and
beer.
There's a great book by Henry Rollins called "Get in the Van" about the Black Flag touring days of the '80s, and sounds exactly like what you're talking about.
You got to pay your dues. We've all done that.
Scrounging a cheeseburger for dinner.
Don't eat for 3 days.
Yeah.
Don't take a shower for a couple weeks.
It comes off the experience you guys had live. There was a moment in the show where James kind of stumbles back into Rafi's drum set, and I'm like, oh shit. And some bands would just fall apart because the guy hit the drummer's drums. I've known a few prima donna drummers.
And unless you're Nirvana, in which case that's part of the act.
Right. Well, but Rafi just pushes the whole thing back in place, like a couple adjustments, and he didn't stop bashing away. He didn't miss a beat.
No, and he never does. And that wasn't the first time that shit has happened on stage. Believe me, that wasn't the first time. And he's trucking along. It's great.
It was great because nobody stopped. It was like, oh shit, that wasn't planned. And
I didn't even know that happened.
Yeah, he like really laid across his drum set, and I'm like, oh fuck. And Rafi just
That's
pushed
one
it.
of the rules in the band or in the music world when you're playing live. You know, it's shit always happens, right? You know, no show is ever perfect. Just never
So
stop
we
playing.
like to move around because we get into it.
Yeah. Now there's times where we can tell you some stories, but the point is, you don't stop. You don't stop playing. You don't stop the song. And
The great Eddie Van Halen said, "If you fuck up, do it again and pretend like you meant to do that."
yeah, right.
That's what you do.
Yeah, and you guys got to get Greg Body to spit fire. I think every bass player should really commit.
Yeah.
And spit, you know.
They're going to do that immediately tomorrow. I can tell. Yeah.
Well, I think that was that's all I got really. It's just been awesome to have you guys on. I think this went well.
This is one of the more entertaining interviews we've done,
Yeah.
for sure. Yeah.
Excellent. We appreciate you having us on, and hope to see you guys again soon. Again, we're at the ranch on the 11th, and then
yeah, I'm definitely going to be there. I'll probably snag up a couple shirts or something.
cool.
Well, hip our listeners to where they can find you guys online.
Yeah, so we're on Facebook. That's probably, Facebook is at Grin Cynic Official, Instagram at Grin Cynic, YouTube at Grin Cynic, grincynic.com, which is being reworked right now. So that'll be up and running in the next week or so.
We're on Spotify, iTunes.
Yeah, we're on all the streaming platforms. April 11th, the single will be dropping on all the platforms. And then
Pre-save now.
Yeah, you can pre-save it right now. That's true.
How did you guys come up with the name Grin Cynic, or was that just a cool sounding name
I really don't like the name, to be honest with you. But so when back in the day, when I started the band in the 90s, when we got signed to this independent label, we had to get a name like immediately, and we were throwing out a bazillion names, and none of them worked. And the singer at the time said, we were talking about something, and he told me to lighten up or stop judging me or something like that.
Huh.
And then like the next day he says, let's just name the band Grin Cynic. And I'm like, what the hell does that mean? He goes, lighten up, you judgmental character, so grin, you cynical person.
Uh-huh.
I'm like, all right, whatever. We just need a name because the label needs it right now. So let's just use it. So that's how it happened, and the rest is history.
That's cool.
Well, if it's any comfort to you, Ray Davies always hated the name The Kinks, and look how successful they were.
Yeah, it's the band that makes the name and not the name that makes the band.
Absolutely.
There's some really silly band names out there, but it is what it is. It works.
Yeah. I mean, there's a few where you're like, really? That's all you guys had? Yeah.
He's Chicken Shack.
Enough is enough.
Enough with that.
Yeah. Well, what do you say? Are you good?
Yeah, we're good. We're going to actually head over to the other side of our studio now and turn our amps to 11 and
Awesome.
And jam.
We'll let you cats get at it. Thanks for coming on. We'll definitely let you know when the episode is up, and say goodbye to all our followers. If you guys can hang on for a second for some post-show wrap-up.
Yep.
See everybody next week. We got plenty of cool shows coming up. Hit the website, buy the merch. You know the deal. Peace out.
Deuces.
See ya.